It's Monday, September 25th, 2023. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I'm going to get right into it today. A few articles I printed out. Love to know your thoughts, your opinions. Please comment down below on any of this. This first article coming from The Hedge today, Peter Schiff, Jerome Powell is just guessing. Think about that. What are the odds that Jerome Powell is just guessing, that he has lost full control? Now, I do believe that Jerome Powell and the Fed are partially responsible for this inflation outbreak that is taking place. They are responsible for a lot of the damage that has taken place. They kept interest rates too low for too long, printed way too much money. They promoted this real estate bubble, buying mortgage-backed securities during a housing boom. Again, keeping rates too low, allowing mortgage rates to be extremely low, also impacting this housing bubble and inflating it even more on top of buying mortgage-backed securities. Peter Schiff says Powell doesn't have a clue what inflation will be next year or how high interest rates will be. He is just guessing. If this is true, and it very well could be, we are literally flying in an airplane with nobody behind the controls. He keeps talking about how strong the economy, Jerome Powell, how strong the consumer is. And he keeps trying to validate this economy, that this economy is doing very, very well, while you and I both know this economy is not doing well. The consumer is not doing well. Are some people doing well? Of course. But the majority of this country is not. And the majority of this country knows every time they go to fill up at the gas station, every time they go to the grocery store, anytime they try to borrow money at these exorbitant rates now. I looked today at bankrate.com. You want to buy a house, 30-year fixed rate, 7.64%. Many people who don't have great credit are now paying over 8.5% for a 30-year. Peter went on to say this: it's inflation that is strong, not the economy. And I think he's right when he said this a long, long time ago. Inflation will win. Inflation has won. Now the question is, how far of an increase in inflation are we going to see? How bad is this really going to get? How expensive is it going to get at the grocery store? How expensive is it going to get at the pump? Here's one from MarketWatch today. Oil could hit $150 per barrel, sending shockwave through system, says top shale CEO. Think about right now, we're at $90 a barrel. Many of you, if you live in California, you're paying close to $6 for regular, close to $7 or more, depending on where you live in California, for super unleaded. Gas across the country is up. Anything you buy at the store, whether it's retail or it's food, it is shipped by a plane, a train, a truck, or a ship, all requiring gasoline, oil, diesel. And as those shipping costs go up, you pay more. And I don't know how they're going to get this under control, because I don't know what the Fed can do in regards to oil prices or labor prices. Labor prices continue to go up when you're paying UPS drivers $170,000 a year, when you're paying people to work at a burger joint $20 an hour. You're going to pay more to go eat. You're going to pay more for services because you're paying more for labor. You're going to pay more when you order something on Amazon and have it shipped. We're all going to continue to pay more while real wages are going down. They're decreasing. But this is very concerning that we could see oil, hitting $150 a barrel. We're at 90 right now. And look at the impact it's having right now, especially people that have to commute to work every day. This is a problem. Just think that, if you're spending an extra $100 a week to drive to work, that's an extra $400 a month. People can only stretch so far. They're stretching more to feed their kids. They're stretching more to put gas in the car. They're stretching more to buy clothes for their kids, to pay for health insurance, to pay for maintenance on the vehicles, to pay for housing insurance, homeowners insurance. They're paying more for everything. They're paying more. And so people are so stretched now, so strapped. And this is why we see so many people now falling behind on their credit card payments, because they are completely now reliant on the use of credit cards, even to pay rents at this point, to pay utility bills. I mean, we're on borrowed time, ladies and gentlemen, borrowed time. And it is shocking. And I'm sure most of you have seen this too. You see people out driving around, you see the traffic, people paying $5, $6 for a gallon of gas like it's nothing. You know, you'll see restaurants full. This is not going to last much longer. And people, I think what we have to understand is that majority of this country is fighting this, and they're using credit cards in order to do it. They do not want to give up going out to dinner. They don't want to give up going to the bars. They don't want to give up shopping at Kohl's or Ross. They don't want to give it up. And as long as they have access to credit, they're going to continue to use those cards to support their lifestyle. They're not going to just give up. And most people just don't think about what's coming tomorrow and what this debt's going to do. If your credit rating goes down, look at how much more you're going to pay in order to get a car loan, to get a mortgage. Your rate every month, you're going to pay more every month on that payment for that car or that house because you have a lower tax or a lower credit rating. And when people begin to default on the credit cards, the rents, the homes, the cars, those FICO scores are going to get crushed, and people aren't going to have access to credit. And that's when things are really going to seize up, when people cannot even qualify. Like right now, they can't qualify to buy a home. So look what's happening to housing. It's collapsing. Sales have collapsed. We're seeing more and more cars sitting on the lots. I'm watching video after video after video on YouTube where these guys are going to car lots and nobody's buying the cars. You're seeing more and more cars piling up at the lots. Why is that? Because it's not cheap to borrow money anymore. People are getting so tapped out with the utility bills, the food bills, the insurance bills. They don't have the money to go buy a car, especially at 9 or 10 or 12+%. So we're going to see the inventory of all these type of assets, homes, commercial real estate, automobiles, RVs, boats, you name it. It's going to continue to pile up. And we are now just in the beginning stages of it. Think about where this is going to be 12 months from now, when a lot more people have lost their jobs, when the inflation is actually higher, and people are already 63% of this country is paycheck to paycheck. It's going to be much more difficult in 2024 to get by than it is right now. So anybody that thinks that we're going to see a housing boom or it's going to turn around, some miracle is going to take place, everybody's going to go out and buy cars again and boats, and it's all going to be a big a party again, you're completely wrong. Brace for the inflationary storm. Morgan Stanley warns El Nino will unleash another price shock. That's another warning from Morgan Stanley. You can take it for what it's worth. Here's another article today. Is something wicked coming at us on October 4th? I have no idea. October typically is not a good month. I believe that's when we had the 1929 crash. That was in the month of October. Correct me if I'm wrong. But are we going to see something? Are we going to see an event take place in October? Could it be a market crash? Could it be some other type of event? Could it be some kind of disaster? I have no idea. We see a lot of predictions out there. A lot of people have made predictions. They don't come true. But we know that things do typically happen in October. But I do have a gut feeling, and I'm sure many of you do too, reading the comments, that we're getting very, very close to something happening. And I think it's going to be more than just one event. I think it's going to be multiple events that take place. And the system here is so fragile, it's so strained right now that when it breaks, there are so many components that are going to break with it. You know, we talk about grids. Grid goes down, banking goes down. That means it's going to be very, very difficult to go to a grocery store. It's going to be very difficult to go to any store. Everything runs electronically, right? It's going to be hard to get gasoline. Maybe you can do it with cash. Maybe you'll have to use barterable items to buy things from other people. But if you think you're going to use a plastic card or a cryptocurrency when a grid goes down to survive, you're sadly mistaken. And I make these videos so that everybody just thinks a little bit outside of the box of what they can do to better prepare themselves for an emergency. And if nothing happens, great, you're prepared. You don't go out and drive your car without insurance. You have insurance, you pay for the insurance, and you pray to God you never ever have to use the insurance, right? If you have health insurance, you're paying a lot of money for it, you pray to God you never ever have to use it, right? That's why you should have barterable items. That's why you have gold, you have silver, you have cash put away, you have your own food and water put away. You pray to God you never have to use these things. But in the emergency, in the case of an emergency, the first thing you're going to think of, thank God I have insurance. Thank God I have some cash, barterable items, the gold, the silver, the food, the water. Thank God you have it. And make sure, ladies and gentlemen, you can protect it. But is something coming in October? It doesn't really matter to me because something is coming no matter what. It may not be October. It could be January. It could be February. It could be March. It could be 2 years from now. But there are so many things taking place globally. There's no way that we're just going to get out of this. There's too much global debt. There's too much national debt here right now. There's too many people on food stamps. There's too many people who are broke. There are too many people living on the streets. There are too many people who rely on the system right now. We're going to have big problems. And I don't think that anybody out there would argue that case, except for maybe 4 or 5 people who believe right now that everything is okay and the economy is booming. Now, these are the people that believe in the Tooth Fairy, they believe in the Easter Bunny, they believe in Santa Claus, and that's okay. That's okay. You have that right. You can believe in whatever you want to believe in. Just please do not come to my house for food. When Wall Street manipulation took over America, now this is very, very interesting. 1970s cost of living, okay? A new home in the 1970s, listen to this, $23,430. That's what a new home in the 1970s cost. The average income was $9,400. Minimum wage was $2.10. Gasoline, 36 cents. A stamp was 6 cents. Milk, 62 cents a gallon. Eggs, 39 cents a dozen. Bread, 23 cents a loaf. The average income in the 70s was $9,400. Today, it's $75,000 per household. The average new home is $513,000. So just really quick, think about a new house being $23,000, average income $9,400. So basically 2.5% of your income bought a house, whereas today, a new house, as of today, that's really double, more than double. It's about 7 times a household income for the price of a new home. 75,000 roughly times 7 puts you a little over 500,000. So 2.5 times what you make versus 7 times what you make. 36 cents for a gallon of gas. Today, I'm paying $6 for regular, $7 for super. Gas, 36 cents back in the day. Can you believe that? I mean, it's hard to even fathom that you could actually make $9,000 a year and live way better in the 1970s than people making $75,000 today and barely getting by. Gold in the 1970s was around $38 an ounce. Today it's $1,935 an ounce. If we break down how many hours you would have to work in the 70s to buy an ounce of gold versus today in 2023, how many hours you would have to work today versus the 1970s. Well, today, if you were working for a minimum wage, roughly, you would have to work 193 hours. This is very, very rough math, okay? But you would have to work 193 hours to buy an ounce of gold. Back in the 70s, you could work 20 hours at minimum wage of $2.10 and buy an ounce of gold. This is just another example that the dollar is toast. You have to hold some dollars, you need some dollars, but the dollar is on borrowed time. And I think that's an astonishing example of the loss of purchasing power with the US dollar. Think about that. You have to work 193 hours today at minimum wage versus 20 hours at minimum wage in the 70s. So look at how much more purchasing power you had back in the 70s. You could earn so much less money and your quality of life would be so much better. Rite Aid to close hundreds of stores in bankruptcy report. They're going to close 400 to 500 stores. Why is this important? Well, it's important for a couple reasons. Number one, the tax base in some of these cities, they're going to lose a lot of tax revenue when a Rite Aid shuts down. Jobs are gone. People who own homes, people who have mortgages, people who rent, people who have bills, their jobs are gone. It's going to be much more difficult for people to get their medications. You close down 400 to 500 pharmacies, it's going to be very difficult for a lot of people to get their medications. And, you know, speaking of medications, make sure that, you know, you always remember this, that as things heat up across the globe, across the world, between America and many other countries, China for one, what happens when China just says, hey, you know what? We're just done selling you pharmaceuticals. We're done selling you medications. Most of you do realize that 90% of our pharmaceuticals and our medications come from China. What happens when China just says, you know what, we're done with you, and they shut us off? How many people are in jeopardy of dying when China does that? It's a very, very scary thought. So again, this is why I'm very repetitive about, you know, getting in the best possible physical shape you can be in. Look, I understand that, you know, people have ailments. People have, you know, things that require pharmaceuticals. People have had surgeries. They need antibiotics. They need, you know, they need heart medications and a variety of medications for their problems, for their medical needs. I get that. And some things exercise is not going to cure. I understand that. But for people that need a solution today, one way to avoid getting into being reliant on pharmaceuticals is taking care of yourself. Avoid, you know, getting these types of diseases. Get in good physical shape. Nothing's foolproof, nothing's 100%, but your odds are much greater that you're going to live a life less dependent on pharmaceuticals the better you take care of your body. So if anybody needs another solution today, the solution today is take care of yourself, take care of your body, eat a little bit better, get more exercise, be aware of what you're doing to your body. Stay away from all the booze and the drugs and abusing your body. Okay, do the best that you can and take care of your body because you only get one, and you don't want to be reliant on Rite Aid for 8 medications, 12 medications, 20 medications, okay? Maybe if you're really improving your lifestyle and eating better and exercising, maybe you can cut your medications down or maybe not be on medications at all. So it's something to think about because the more reliant we are on Rite Aid, the more reliant we are on China to produce those medications. And why we're not doing that here in America, I don't know. If you have the answer, please comment down below. Jeffries downgrades Nike, Foot Locker, Urban Outfitters as student debt payment restarts set to spark spending pullback. This is no shock. It's amazing that all these people had money to go to Nike and Foot Locker and Urban Outfitters and Ross and Kohl's and Macy's and Nordstrom's and all these stores, but they didn't have the money to pay back the debt. They wanted you to pay it back. They wanted me to pay it back. Sentiment is about to turn very, very negative for the consumer because they got to pay their debts back. You're not doing it. I'm not doing it. They're going to have to pay it back. They signed on the dotted line. They agreed. They made the obligation. They should have to pay their debts back. Unfortunately, now they're going to realize in the real world that most of these degrees are completely worthless. Now they're $80,000 in debt. They've had a very good time for the last 3.5 years, not having to pay for it, going out, spending money, and their world is about to change. And it's also going to really put a serious headwind on the U.S. economy because that's $15.8 billion every month not going back into the economy. So we're going to see how that plays out. But at the end of the day, these people made an agreement. They need to pay back what they borrowed. We shouldn't be on the hook for it. You shouldn't be on the hook. I shouldn't be on the hook. We didn't agree to this. They did. Now they have to pay it back. So this is going to put a lot more strain on the U.S. economy. So as I leave you today, just, a few articles I wanted to share with everybody, but be very, very aware. Inflation is not going away. I don't think I need to remind anybody of that. You went to the grocery store this week. You went to the gas pump. It just keeps getting worse. And all I can say is, stay out of debt if possible. Take on extra side hustles. Do whatever you have to do to pay down the debt. At least get it manageable. Don't make any irrational financial decisions right now. I would stay away from big ticket items. Every day, multiple times a day, I'm getting homes sent to me in the southern part of the U.S. Price reduction, price reduction, price reduction, price reduction, price reduction. Anybody telling you that real estate is doing great, that there's going to be no collapse, these people have no idea what's happening in the real world. And at some point, we're going to see forced selling in a lot of these markets. Yes, so certain markets will hold up better than others, but many of these markets where we saw this implosion of FOMO and this implosion of buyers and people running out of California and buying in, parts of Austin and San Antonio and all over Florida, Phoenix, Arizona. These are going to be areas that are going to get hit extremely hard. And I say that because when you look at the debt to income ratios, you cannot sustain a housing market where people are spending 40 to 50% of their incomes on a mortgage. That is absolutely unsustainable. We have an economy where we're going to see more people lose their jobs. And that is going to be a crushing blow to housing. We're going to see the Airbnb market continue to falter, and you're going to see people forced to the exits in the Airbnb market. And so there's a lot of factors that are going to go into this collapse, but debt to income is going to be big. The Airbnb market that is faltering is going to be another big one. And of course, when you have mortgage rates this high, you have an economy that we're watching just get slammed into a brick wall here. At some point, a lot of people, as they get tapped out, they've wiped out their retirements, they've wiped out their savings, maybe they've had an emergency come up, we're going to see more divorces. It's going to force more people to sell. I mean, it's just pretty common sense, ladies and gentlemen. This is not going to be avoidable, no doubt about it. So I'm going to leave it there today. Please feel free to comment about anything that is on your mind. Write it down below in the comments. The comments in the last couple of weeks have been absolutely off the hook. You guys are unbelievable. You're making people really think outside of the box. You're bringing a lot of attention to what's really happening in the U.S. economy, what's happening socially. The social breakdown continues, it's something you better all be very, very concerned about. Make sure you have security. Security should be at the utmost top of your list for assets and walking close to God. So I'm going to leave it there today. Comment down below. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I look forward to speaking with each and every one of you.